Hi, everybody. Welcome. It's such a beautiful sunny day outside, so thank you so much for joining us. We've got a great night ahead. This is our second watch party of the Mapping Melbourne Festival, and we're very excited to have some really great artists with us tonight. With the deepest respect, all of us at MAV acknowledge that we live, work, and celebrate on unceded Aboriginal land. We'd like to acknowledge the Wurundjeri and Boonwurrung people who are the traditional custodians of the land on which we are today. I extend my deepest respect to all elders past and present and emerging, and elders from the surrounding communities who may be here tonight. This has always been and always will be Aboriginal land. Now, of course, this is the 8th and final year of Mapping Melbourne, and Mapping Melbourne, I believe, is just truly one of the most exciting festivals in the city, the country. We're all about championing exciting work and some of the most talented Asian Australian artists in our community. I did a show with them last year, and I'm very happy to still be working with them today. The festival is all about investing in artists and artistic practices that speak to the importances of identity and who we are as a society. And I think it's awesome that it's just such an artist-led festival as well. So thank you, Mav, for believing in artists and trusting artists with their own visions. I think it really shows in the quality of the work and just the programming and how exciting and how free people feel to be in this festival. I'd also like to thank our partners, City of Melbourne, Creative Victoria, and the Australia Council for the Arts. This would not be possible without your work, so thank you all. First, we've got the amazing artist Soyoun Kim and their work Mask. I had a great chat with them last week, and I absolutely loved that conversation. We just talked about masks and like performing the self and all those good things about, I don't know, just artifice and identity and just, I don't know, just the everyday things that we have to do to live as we move around the world. And I really can't wait to watch that now. So let's welcome Soyoun Kim. Hi, Soyoun. How are you?
Good, thanks. Hi, Margot.
Hi. Could you just tell us, in like a couple of lines, just a quick bit about yourself?
Hi, I'm Soyoun Kim. Um, my creative practice centers on the notion of identity and humanity in contemporary society, and based on mainly my experience was around events and how I experienced as a Korean Australian, and I mainly portray the medium of photography and video with the self-performing image.
Oh, amazing, amazing. Well, we're just watching your work right now, Mask, and I love it. Like I feel like I've worn many masks myself, literally and figuratively, throughout this pandemic and of course in life as well. And I just wanted to say that I really like loved your work, and I think that like performing, that self-performance is definitely something that like resonates with me as well.
Thank you.
So I think that the first thing we'll go is how did you find trying to be creative during this pandemic?
'Cause as I just mentioned, generally my creative practice is motivated by current events happening now around me. So I try to engage with a more pandemic impact on people, especially with an Asian Australian perspective, my perspective. So even though most of my work are self-performing image and portraying the medium of photography and video, I felt limited in exploring and testing different methodology and mediums during the lockdown. I think it was more like a psychological impediment rather than physical availability things like that. So it took a while, but this limitation turned my attention to more domestic settings and materials more than ever.
Mm, yeah, gosh, I can imagine. Suddenly this literalized like idea of the mask is just everywhere and it's like this hot topic, and yeah, that's really interesting how it would suddenly kind of impact the work that you've already been doing.
Hmm.
Could you speak about your process for putting this particular project together?
Yes, people Melbourne became serious with this virus and the obligation of wearing masks. I originally heard from this issue from my family in South Korea that they start first think more seriously and about how the Korean government would manage the situation, especially with the mask and hand sanitizer. So at this time, I was researching about the relationship between cultural perceptions and people's ethnic appearance based on the violent incident occurred on Asian people, the blame of the spreading virus. So a mask can be all kinds of masks. Mask to protect from this virus or any harmful elements like toxic gas. Mask can be a face mask for carnival or performance in ceremony, such as well-known Venetian mask. Also, that's called the Korean traditional, half-a mask. This is for performing a special ceremony. And also, it can be a beauty mask pack that which Korean made popular across Asia for fairer and a younger skin. So this fair and white skin actually is the concept of beauty within European skin color. This is where Eurocentric supremacy is based throughout the colonial history. And changing person's skin color, which Michael Jackson also tried, does not change the person actually, but changing person's appearance by disguise with a mask or wearing a makeup or operating plastic surgery does not change the fact who that person is. So through the project mask, I try to question why skin color or physical appearance is a matter in our society and
Mm.
wanted to celebrate the beauty of diversity and unique individuality. So in the photograph series mask, I use basic color background to evoke the notion of skin color. We often difference from non-European people saying colored people. It sounds like a word frame, but it sounds not right for me because European skin can be described as pale beige with pink, something like that. So it means their skin have colors, of course. our skin colors cannot be described simply black and white, and they are more complicated and complex. So in my opinion, all humans are color people with their beautiful skin colors. This appearance matter is explored with the ID card portrait format in the works of taking an ID photo, which I adapted a more video sliding format. I was following the rule of Australian passport ID photo, except background color, which is blackness implies invisibility of true identity. Because in a general rule, you have to use a more neutral color background. The rule does not say that a person should not wear makeup or dye hair, so that's why I try to show those looks without violating any rule of how to take ID photos. Another ID photos were taken with instant films and analog medium format camera in instant ID photo poster series. The character of this instantaneity and analog medium indicates no manipulation of image, generally think. Does it mean that those portraits represent true identity? My doubt is explored through ambiguous portraits by pulling off those immersion sheets from the instant films before they fully develop. And the mock-up of installing those photos as posters suggests the fact that Asians and Asian Australians are treated as criminals charged with responsibility for the virus. That's what I try to express.
Yeah. I think it's definitely, and I love your the passport photo or the ID photos.
Thank you.
So it's this weird, like when you take it out of the context that it's in, which is quite a practical context all the time, it's kind of this bizarre like photo that everyone or like a lot of people have like for some reason.
I know. They wanted to look ugly.
Yeah, and this is like the thing that the governments have chosen to be like, this represents you and this represents your rights. And it's this like weird plain photo of us. And it's like, okay, well, like what about this uniformity is suddenly like the thing that we are identified by? So yeah, I thought it was like, I don't think I've really thought about like ID pictures too much aside from the usual, like they're weird. But yeah, like your project, I was like, yeah, like that is so weird. And I love the photos where you kind of had like a smudged ID photo. That had like a really weird effect on me because I was like, they're not meant to be smudged. Like I've never seen them smudged. Like it has this weird like alienating effect I found that made its purpose even more ridiculous. And like, you know, masks are, you know, in turn, I guess, kind of ridiculous and practical as well, depending on, I don't know, your context. And like, I guess, like, how did your relationship with your own kind of visible Asianness shift during the pandemic? Your work obviously has a lot of like direct references and just direct influences in terms of the material and of course the subject matter as well. So, you know, were you more scared than usual, anxious? Did you ever feel like did you feel like the mask was like protecting you or like exposing you to even more danger?
Yeah, first I thought it was ridiculous how it happened when I heard about those violent incidents. And then I thought it was not unusual event because racism has been present every day, whether people are aware of it or not. It's not a new story. So my life as an international Australian would remain the same then, you know, because it's before the pandemic, because it has been there. But it's kind of positive mindset at the time, but it turned out gradually into anxiety. I think accompanying my concern for my health concern for compromised condition together, suddenly I'm afraid of going out myself. It just naturally happened. I didn't think deeply, and then, but this pandemic actually stimulated, of course, this project and brought forward more, I think, a conversation about how we live together. And also being an artist, I think, is a merit for me because I could speak out loud about this ongoing racism concern through this creative artworks. So it's, I think, great to be clearly visible throughout exposure, like this event mark mapping. So now I want to be more visible as who I am and want to hear more loud voice from the like-minded creatives and people. That's my current mind. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's great. Yeah, I remember being like really relieved when masks were made mandatory, because when they were kind of still voluntary, like I was so scared really like of my mom, because she was out and about going to her jobs and like doing the groceries all the time. And so I was scared for her, and I was like, oh my God, like she's gonna get like harassed, and she has an accent as well, which like exposes you to even more ridicule. And I was like, oh my God, like I want her to wear a mask, but like I'm scared for her, and I'm scared for like many Asians who are walking around this.
Yeah, wear a whole mask.
Yeah, this mask can't be removed.
I know it. We are laughing, but that time was really serious.
Oh yeah. I remember that time. And now, like obviously, you have like in your greater practice, you really are into exploring not masks and also like self-performance, and I guess like depicting your yourself and your personalities and different kind of selves in different ways. Let's talk about the masks that you just kind of wear in life in general. Like, do you have your like favorite masks or personas that you put on, or some that you put on begrudgingly because you just like, oh fine, I'll be this person because I have to, whether it's for practical reasons or whatever?
Yeah, it's quite difficult to answer that way. That's more like ideal way of kind of describing. So I say I would wear masks that try to tell that we are all little human beings, whether it's ethnicity, gender, or class. And also I like wear masks that can reciprocate each other's perspective, not one side perspective. We can understand each other. So I say I wear my own mask that express myself as who I am as a Korean Australian, simply, I would say.
Yeah. I think that's a really nice way to put it, because I feel like if you're wearing a mask that maybe resonates with another person's mask, you're able to recognize each other kind of instantly, because you can be like, oh, you like this, or you're like this, or you have these ideologies or values that are similar to yourself. And that can be like a comforting thing. And you can only find those people if you are yourself, if you are wearing a mask or whatever, or a public persona that can be like, I don't know, like recognizable in a way. And it sounds like a fake thing to do, but I think sometimes it's like a way to feel more yourself, I guess. And have you ever kind of worn a mask that maybe ended up staying on for longer than you thought?
It's a really interesting question. So I just say I often think of whenever I hear this kind of story or talking about mask and identity, I often think of French Kafka's novel, The Metamorphosis.
Sorry,
the French Kafka's novel, The Metamorphosis. In the story, the protagonist turned into the insect, giant insect.
Oh yeah.
Suddenly in the morning, there was no clue. So that story. Another one was a Lynch film called Lost Highway, which in film the protagonist changed the body like different person. So in the story, then, which is the true identity of the protagonist with the change into a person's body, or is the original person who is in that mind? Also in the metamorphosis is that which is the true identity of that is insect kind male protagonist is a human with intellectual brain or insect physical form, which is true identity. So it's the appearance, it can be really insect looks like. Appearance can be another person in the movie. Then who is the true this person, true identity? I think I want to leave this question as an answer.
Yeah,
And I'm thinking,
absolutely. I feel like this is a question for life, is like balancing identity and like the fluidity of selves with like, I don't know, just trying to exist every day and trying to be a person every day. Well, thank you for that. I've loved getting the chance to chat to you and your work, and yeah, I'm a fan. So thank you for your time.
I'd like to see your work someday too on offline.
Oh yeah. Oh, I'll try and send some to you. Yeah, I'm obsessed with like putting on different selves and Instagram and all that stuff, and like artifice and like how artificial it is / how, I don't know, like how artificialness feels the most real to me sometimes, making something real. Yeah. Well, thank you, Soyoun. I hope you have a lovely day. And please make sure you can check out their works on the MAV website.
Sure.
And yeah, do a deeper dive and rewatch them and just like live in the masks for a little bit.
Thank you, Margot.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Soyoun Kim, for your time and reflections. You can now more closely view and rewatch all of their works on the MAV website, so please check that out. Now we've got Creature. They are the duo behind our visual ID this year. They are currently in their studio headquarters, and they are the ones who made our background currently happening in this live stream. We love it. We stan. Welcome, Chanel and Ambrose.
Hi, Margot. Thanks for having us.
Hey, I just love. Oh, thank you so much for coming today, or tuning in, zooming in. First, how did you guys find being creative during the pandemic?
It was quite difficult. So we're freelancers, so basically nothing was happening, and I guess that doing things is also motivation. So I reached a point where there was nothing to do, so you're just trying to find projects, which is quite hard. So we did kind of come up with a few things to do. One of them is actually this mural behind us, which we just wanted to do and kind of kept ourselves by doing that. But yeah, it was a hard time.
It was tough just because our work's so project-based, so there's not much activity going on in the city. Yeah, it was pretty slow, and I guess the morale was down and lack of inspiration. So it was tough. Yeah. But then as soon as like things opened up again, we found ourselves really busy in the last few months. So like luckily it didn't last forever. We had a moment where we thought, oh no, is this our lives now? Is it ever going to come back? But it's kind of stronger than ever now. So very grateful that things are happening again. We're open. So yeah.
I keep thinking, am I in a dream or something? Like, is this really, is it going back to, like it feels so normal and better. So
yeah, it's weird because I feel like it definitely felt like a dream, but the other way around. Sometimes I'm like, whoa, did the last few months like actually happen? I feel like we were all just collectively asleep or something.
Yeah, I've been
it's just, it was wild. Now, of course, the slideshow happening down the bottom is a collection of their brilliant other work. So we hope you're enjoying viewing those as well. And I love seeing the kind of the cohesion of like your style and your aesthetic as well. I think it's like really satisfying, and it's awesome that you found just like this really great kind of signature vibe.
Thank you.
You're welcome. How did you come up with the visual ID Forever Dance? How did you, and what was the process for kind of putting that work together?
Well, we did want to, it was kind of in the middle, well, towards the end of the lockdown, and we did want to do something that kind of encapsulates this year. And it has been a tough year, but one thing I think it has taught a lot of us is resilience. So I guess the piece really represents resilience, and it has these figures kind of constantly moving and revolving around, and that's why we called it Forever Dance, because it's that keeping on going even when things are tough. And I think the only way to do that is to kind of like ground yourself or hold yourself to something you believe in, and that's kind of the central figure, which is the crane. So that could mean anything. It could be a belief in yourself or your ideals or ethics or whatever you want, but it's that constant moving, the constant resilience that we did find quite inspiring this year. So.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I just love the work, and it's just like, boom, here it is. Final mapping Melbourne. Let's do it. We've emerged from this ridiculous last few months, and now we're just going to blossom. We're going to go for it. And yeah, I think it just has such an energy, your work. So yes.
Yeah, Mav were great. They just had an open brief. So we were lucky enough to just do kind of our style, whatever we wanted to do. And we kind of love that opportunity, just because a lot of the times we have quite strict briefs that when we're given the option to do whatever we want, we kind of make it as powerful and punchy as possible, I guess.
Yeah.
Contrast and movement, and always some sort of animals and interaction between the animals. It's like, that's just what we love doing. So it was exciting to be able to do that for a project specifically.
Yeah, that's awesome. Now, so everyone at home knows, what is Creature Creature?
I guess it's our artist name that kind of represents us. And we started collaborating pretty much as soon as we met in university. So as soon as we met, we felt like we're kind of creative, kindred souls. And we found that anything we did, any project, was always a collaboration. So we thought that we might as well, do this seriously and as part of our art practice. And we just feel like it felt right, and we just continued doing it.
Yeah, school assignments, we kind of help each other out anyway, and we just like kind of make it more strong by bouncing ideas off each other, and taking turns with artworks, like in the back of the class when we were waiting for something to change.
So it's very natural for us to collaborate all the time.
That's so great. Yeah, it really sounds like it's just been like this great partnership from the start, and now you've built like this great kind of name or like kind of duo company for yourself. And I think that's just like a very inspiring thing to be like, no, like, that it worked, that you work well, and that your art can kind of be expressed in a certain way to like certain people. And I just love how like robust that whole thing is. It's very
I feel like it kind of breaks the myth of a kind of lone artist who's got a really big ego and just does stuff hiding away in a studio or whatever. Like, I feel like collaboration is the best way to be creative, not only between us two, but between other artists, or just collaborate in any facets of life. That's what we really kind of want to promote with what we do together.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, that's definitely something that's been on my mind, like more and more and more, of just like dispelling within myself as well, of like, Margot, like, you don't have to do this alone. Like you can just love working with other people, and like you can work with the people that you love being around. It's not just like,
I think you have to be quite open to it. Like, you can't be too precious about what you do. You have to be open to different ideas, and so I think it's hard as an artist because you're quite precious about your work, but if you kind of let your guard down a bit, like, amazing things can happen.
Yeah, I love that. Take note, everyone at home. Now, what are some like themes and like aesthetics that you find yourself kind of gravitating towards all the time? Whether it's like the clients you take or I don't know, just kind of the work that you do.
Just, I guess we always tend to have a kind of duality in our work that represents both of us and this kind of movement and flow. That's the kind of aesthetic we want to continue, and a lot of patterns and repetition. And yeah, it's hard with client work because sometimes again briefs can be quite specific, but we try to still stay true to our style and let that come through.
Mm-hmm. How do you balance like making work for clients and still getting time to make kind of your own things? Do you balance?
Yeah, it is a hard thing. I guess we're lucky enough that we've got a portfolio that kind of represents who we are. So anyone who comes to us kind of has an idea of already that we would be suitable for a project. But then in other ways, like having a restricted brief is really important and great because it kind of forces us to do something that we never thought of doing. So sometimes when you can do anything, it's a bit overwhelming, but sometimes restrictions can be good. Yeah.
And you learn things from those commercial jobs as well. So if it's not exactly what you want to do, but it's a kind of compromise, you actually end up doing something you never normally do, whether it's like a new medium or new subject matter, and often that can reflect in our next body of work. Like changing colors. Like we only started using blues probably in the last year or so, and this has got blue. Can't remember what switched that through, but
yeah. Like every job is definitely a learning experience. So yeah.
That's great to hear because I work for like a marketing agency as well, and it's been like it's nice to kind of talk to like other artists who are working in kind of a more commercial space as well. I always love hearing just your thoughts on like the day-to-day and the process and stuff.
Yeah, we do like a mix of both. Like we do love doing client work, but we also love doing like exhibitions. Like that's kind of how we started, is doing gallery shows where there are no rules. Client, and we definitely want to continue making that part of our art practice because building a body of work, it's so important, and just to go fully inside yourself with no one else telling you what to do is really important, and it often informs our client work. So the more we kind of focus on a body of work, different people see it and like it, and then we end up getting more projects out of it. So
yeah, nice. Now this might be a massive question, or maybe it's too simple, I don't know, but like I don't know, like how do you think art and design are kind of different from another, if they are?
I don't think they're that different. Like when I was in art school, it was very separate. There was definitely art school and then the design school, which was opposite, and they never used to cross over. But I feel like our work kind of does cross over a lot. Like we do a lot of design and illustration work as well as our art practice. I definitely think it should be merged more. And we've both had the same experience of starting in art school, which was quite conceptual, and then we met doing graphic design, where we were learning really practical stuff. And I feel like we use both of those educations equally, or at least I do. I feel like both of them are so useful. So I think there should be some more crossover, definitely.
Yeah, because I was just like trolling through your website, and you like create work within so that kind of ends up in so many different contexts. Like you make murals, and could you actually talk about making murals? I don't think I've spoken to people who make murals.
Oh yeah, we love making murals.
Yeah. It's fun. It's definitely like the street art scene is definitely embraced us. When we were wondering, what to do with with our kind of creative time, I think it was really the street art community that kind of said, come here and be part of this community. And then we've never looked back, because they're amazing, and everyone kind of in the street art community is so giving, and so talented. So I don't think we ever set out to do murals for a living, but it's definitely become one of our favorite things, just to do something large scale, and the impact that can have, especially work in a public space where you don't have to go into a gallery to see it. You don't have to kind of be part of the art scene or be invited. It's just open for everyone, which
that direct engagement.
Yeah. And just putting art in front of people's everyday lives. Like, I think that's really important. And that's something that's very unique about Melbourne, is that you can just walk down the street and see so much things.
Yeah, totally. And I feel like, I don't know, like, you tell me if this is wrong, but I feel like there definitely has been a resurgence of just kind of street art in more commercial spaces as well, like being used. What do you think that is? Is it just people kind of acknowledging that people can respond to more organic looking artwork over like ads and stuff, like, as well as, you know, just kind of revitalizing public space in general?
Yeah, definitely they want to revitalize. I think it's also kind of becoming a strong identity of Melbourne now to have street art everywhere, and they're really embracing it in the last few years, and especially this year as well. We've actually noticed it too, like walking around a lot of different shopping centres, and like even Box Hill, we're like, wow, there's all these murals in Box Hill now. It's like, it's actually, it's like everywhere.
Yeah, I definitely think it's part of Melbourne's identity. It's like things that formerly used to be on the street and now in commercial spaces. And whether it's good or bad, like, I think it's also part of kind of creating something a bit more immersive, because as soon as you paint a mural, just the scale of it is quite impressive. So I do think it like transforms spaces quite nicely, where you can kind of, you may be immersed in a painting, which is quite cool, especially if you're just in a cafe or something. It's a cool design feature. So
no, it's great to hear your thoughts on that. And where are you finding your inspirations at the moment, whether it's kind of just in art or in TV and music? Like, what are you listening to, enjoying right now?
Lots of different things. Amber's is really into music, making music too, like kind of cross-discipline as well. Like, obviously, like, we love making art, and it's our job and our hobby and everything, but like, we're definitely kind of have other interests as well. Like, I'm really into film, Emrys is really into music, so we do kind of, and it all kind of connects. Like, more you can kind of, I think the main thing that I love is storytelling, whether it's through art or music or film or whatever. I just love narrative-based things. So I guess, just being inspired by, I think we're very easily inspired. So we can flick through a book or walk down the street and find something interesting. And I think just having that sense of wonder all the time can really help as an artist, because you're never too gloomy about everything or stuck or you know, in a rut. Like, we're always inspired by something, whether it's like a pattern in a sky or
today I was like reflections of the glass in the cafe we were in, just watching the light go through it and then moving it and taking photos of the different like asterisk kind of light effects.
So many different
random
little
stuff.
things. Random things.
No, that's the best. It's like, no, we can't be precious about the outlet or like anything. I feel like it's just anything goes now, and I feel like that makes us feel freer as like creators and like artists and whatever. Well, as just a final question, is there anything that you're working on right now that you're kind of excited about or think or dreaming of doing very soon?
Yeah, we've got like a bunch of projects on. One of the exciting ones is that I'm doing some work for Adidas originally.
Ooh.
Yeah, they've opened a new store in Melbourne Central, so I've done a couple of works for them. So I've done like a light box that's behind the cash desk and designed a floor rug as well. So yeah, it's a very exciting project, and it's like what we were talking about before. Like it's obviously a very commercial, big client, but I feel like I still injected a lot of creature elements in it. Yeah, and you got to do it. So yeah, so that's really exciting. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I do love all these like kind of streetwear brands really embracing art and artists.
Yeah.
At the moment, I think it's so cool, and it's such an exciting bridge that's like really starting to happen between worlds.
It's like a dream job for us.
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
Couldn't imagine years ago we'd be working with Adidas.
Yeah. And there's also other artists working, but like 2 other artists in the store who are both local Melbourne creatives. So I think that they brands do want that kind of authentic kind of local artists, which I think they've gone in the right direction because definitely like it definitely represents Melbourne. So
Yeah. Well, that's so exciting. I cannot wait to go into the store.
Yeah,
see your work. I'm sure I will recognize it.
Yeah.
In a heartbeat. I'm very excited for that. Okay, well, thank you so much for having a chat with us. I love talking to you both. It's so great to hear this other kind of world of street art and like commercial life, and just kind of how that intersects with your own artistic practice. So thank you.
No worries. Thanks for having us.
Thank you. And thank you to everybody. Thank you to our funding body, City of Melbourne, Creative Victoria, and Australia Council for the Arts for making this all possible as well. Thank you, Soyoun, Chanel, and Ambrose. And everybody, please remember that we've got our 3rd watch party next Thursday happening the same time, 7 p.m. It'll be the last one of the year, and it's going to be super awesome and super hot because I love these 2 artists, Jonathan Holmesy and Adolfo Aranjuez, and they're both premiering a dance piece, and I absolutely cannot wait. I love the dance, and I love the queer Asians. So please come hang out with us next week, 7 p.m. Have a good evening, everybody. Enjoy some sun, get your din-dins, and yeah, have a lovely Thursday.